Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Horizons, Finding the Right Balance for the Post-ECQ Workplace. My name is Tyler Thorpe, and I'm a senior consultant at Great Place to Work, and I will be your host for today's webinar. And joining me this afternoon is Art Tolentino, HR leader of Synchrony Philippines. Welcome, Art.
Welcome, Taylor.
All right. So a couple logistics for our session. If you would make sure that your microphones are muted, and then at the end, during the Q&A, you're welcome to unmute to share any questions or comments that you have. In the meantime, though, we'll use the Zoom chat function to share any comments or questions that you might have during the session. This is an open, the Zoom chat is open, and so you have a choice of sending a message that would include everyone, or you can send a private message to my colleague Cyrus if you prefer. So feel free to do that, and we'll monitor that as we go. And then finally, the session is going to be recorded for future playback. So we look forward to being able to share it after the live session today. So our agenda for today, after a brief introduction to Great Place to Work, Art will share about Synchrony Philippines' response to maintain business continuity and employee productivity in response to COVID-19. I'll have a chance to ask Art a few questions about Synchrony's post-ECQ focus, and we will make sure to have time at the end for any audience questions and comments. So a quick introduction to Great Place to Work in the Philippines. First off, our mission is to build a better world by helping organizations become great places to work for all. We are experts in building great workplaces, leveraging over 30 years of research and experience in workplace culture. Great Place to Work has offices in 60 countries around the world, with the Philippines office our most recent addition. And we are dedicated to helping leaders successfully navigate issues of trust and performance within their workplace cultures. Throughout this process, we've identified an unparalleled list of best workplaces around the world in the APAC region and now in the Philippines. Our model is based on our organization culture research over the last 30 years. It defines a great workplace for employees as one in which they trust the people they work for, they have pride in what they do, and they enjoy the people they work with. So the focus is on three key relationships: with management, your colleagues, and your job. We measure these three relationships through our Trust Index survey, which utilizes the 5 dimensions which you can see in the graphic. At the top of the graphic, you see dimensions of credibility, fairness, and respect. And these focus on an employee's relationship with management. On the lower left is the dimension of camaraderie, which focuses on the relationship with colleagues. And on the lower right, the dimension of pride, that focuses on your relationship with your job, the work you do, the team you work with, and the organization you're a part of. Each of these dimensions are key components of great workplaces, and together enable building a foundation of trust. So now, it's with pride and appreciation that we welcome Art, HR leader from Synchrony Philippines. Synchrony was recognized as the #1 on our Philippines Best Workplaces for 2020, our inaugural set of best workplaces. And Art, in his role as Vice President for Human Resources, brings significant experience in the financial services industry and a true appreciation of the people side of organizations. So I'll turn it over to Art to tell us more about Synchrony Philippines and their response to the COVID-19 crisis. Art.
Thank you, Tyler, and thank you for this award. You know, our employees have been raving about this award because they know that each of them was an important contributor for getting this award as one of the #1 or the #1 best place to work in the Philippines. To our webinar attendees today, I am pleased to share with you some of our company's practices with the hope that you'll draw out some insights as most companies shifted your business horizons due to this pandemic. So allow me to start with talking about Synchrony, where I work. Synchrony is the largest provider of private label credit cards in the United States. based on purchase volume and receivables, and it provides a diverse range of credit products that continue to help consumers finance their purchase of goods and services. In the Philippines, we are a subsidiary company managing Synchrony's call center operations at our two sites, one in Philinvest Alabang and the other one in Cebu. And both of our sites cater to different functions, including customer service, e-chat, consumer banking and deposits, collections, consumer solutions, and fraud operations. Now let me spend a little more time about our culture. I am very proud of our culture, as this is the key to our success. And I think being awarded as the #1 best workplace in the Philippines confirms that we are pushing the right buttons in creating that culture. Our culture brings us together and also sets us apart. We believe in the power of relationships. We are colleagues, teammates, and partners that are united in our core commitment of helping others. And everything is rooted in the principle that we do the right thing for our employees, our customers, our partners, and our communities. I am very confident to say that we wear our diversity and inclusion like a feather in our cap, and it reflects in our workforce. We celebrate the diversity of our people, their skills, and their ideas. Here in Synchrony, you can always be yourself. If we go to the next slide.
Let me know when you want. Thanks.
Thank you, Tyler, for flipping to the next slide. Now let me talk about a topic that is very close to my heart, our employees and their families. And I cannot thank our employees enough for all the work that they've been doing this last few months as the coronavirus situation evolved. They all have stepped up in such an incredible way during this unprecedented event. Synchrony is truly grateful. As one Synchrony family, we're all in this together. And we believe that as a company, the safety of our employees and their families is our top priority. Aside from adhering to local government advisories, we have gone above and beyond in ensuring the safety and security of our employees. I would remember that when the community quarantines were enforced, our management team wasted no time securing hotel rooms for employees within walking distance from our sites. We have given out financial stipends, wellness allowances, transportation services, and even daily meals to our employees. And for our employees who were stuck up in the lockdown, we continued providing financial assistance equivalent to their daily basic pay. Because we think a lot of our employees and how they're dealing about this pandemic, we implemented a robust process in handling coronavirus-related cases. As everybody has become victims to the social media confusion and fake information, we created Synchrony 360, launching education and awareness contents that are available for our employees, aiding them in this uncertain time. We have online resources to help our managers and leaders lead effectively and help them with their employee engagement. And we have topped our various engagement groups to keep the conversation going in order to support the well-being of our employees. Let's go to the next slide, Tyler. Thank you. So I want to talk about work at home. Right now, all of our employees are safe, working in the confines of their residences. And we just announced last night that we will continue to be so until January of next year. And I hope that our employees appreciate that. We never thought of the possibility of work from home in the Philippines because we are a financial institutions and the controls are there, and we fear about information security of our customers. But as the situation progresses, there is one thing that sticks to our minds, and that is our employees' safety. And so what we did was we skipped the hundreds of approval meetings and all of the processes that we need to go through, and we moved decisively to transition everyone to work at home. But that's easier said than done because we literally had to give everyone the technology. So we deployed work at home kits in Manila and Cebu, and this included computers, headsets, monitors, cables, and even internet connectivity. We helped our employees be comfortable with the work at home setup, and we provided them training, and we gave them 24/7 IT support and a lot of self-help guides. But in all of this, our frontline managers became our superstars. They were tireless, unrelenting, and creative, ensuring that our people are well supported as they transition into working at home. Now their head and hearts are wrapped around engaging their employees like never before. So, virtually connecting to their employees is twice over their previous efforts, but they continue to make their presence felt to their employees. Here at Synchrony, everybody acts as owners, and we share in the accountability and responsibility of the company to its customers. All of these get married together through constant and honest communications. We never doubted our employees will give the best in class interaction, but work at home setup is not without a challenge. I tell you, while on calls, our customers would repeatedly ask about background noises, including crying children, roosters crowing in the early morning, sounds of vehicles passing by, among others. But we try to minimize this by providing our employees with noise canceling headsets. Let's go to the next page, sir. Thank you. And, let's talk about caring for the children of our employees. I feel it is timely that I share with you a creative best practice that was born to address employee concerns. Parents have been asking us how to manage their time productively while working at home and at the same time attending to their children's needs. So, Camp Kalaman was born as a program for our employees. This is a virtual learning experience for the children of our employees to meet new friends and enrich themselves with various learning opportunities. On a daily basis, we run 6 live and recorded sessions focused on the arts, science, and technology, health and wellness, diversity and inclusion, and helping the community. And we have a lot of volunteer employees who carved out time from their busy lives to facilitate the sessions. And I want to thank our Camp Kalaman team for making this happen. And my shout out to Leia Gragada and Kara Kuwachan for their exceptional leadership. This is ongoing until the end of August, and we are very proud that our employees receive this very well. It is very fulfilling to hear our campers enjoying their virtual learning sessions we have prepared for them. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Employee Assistance Fund and helping our communities. During this pandemic, we have witnessed the outpouring of help and altruism. And this COVID situation opened our eyes that indeed we can do more for our employees and their communities. We launched our Employee Assistance Fund for our employees so that they can get the help they need. Synchrony Foundation has donated 1.5 million in these efforts. And employees can apply for personal hardship grant, or they can apply for COVID-19 grant if an employee or immediate family member has contracted or passed away as a direct result of the virus. Synchrony also started a $5 million grant to support global hunger relief. And here in the Philippines, we joined hands with Gawad Kalinga in granting 2.5 million pesos for COVID-19 relief efforts and close to 4.5 million pesos to build several Synchrony Kusina ng Kalinga. I am very happy to share with you guys that, we are also very quick in taking action in our volunteer efforts to provide help and support to frontline liners during the initial months of this pandemic. And that takes me to my last slide, I believe. So it's navigating our new workspace, our return to office. So if during the deployment for work at home, we were fast and furious, our return to office strategy was or is slow and safe. That's why, we understand that, there's still so much unknown with coronavirus. And so we announced, as I shared a while ago, that we are extending our work from home through at least January 4 of 2021. And we are doing this with one thing in mind. We needed to assure our employees that we are ready to provide a safe working environment when we return. This includes actions for the safety and health protocols that we are going to put into place in the offices. And I tell you, we have made this promise to our employees. We will not return to the office until we believe it is safe to do so. And we act on data-driven decision-making. So we launched a couple of surveys to our employees that is specific to our return to office plans. And we wanted to be guided by the voice of our employees. And these surveys are critical inputs to shape our return to office planning. And we will continue with our approach of playing it smart, safe, and slow. So bringing it all together in this shifting horizon where unknowns and uncertainties are aplenty, there are constant anchors that we can rely on to guide us on our actions. And these are, number one, the safety and welfare of our employees and their families. The second one would be ensure that your employees are successful by providing them with the right tools. Another one would be being intentionally creative in engaging and motivating your employees. Another one would be use data when making decisions. Do your research, but most of all, pay attention to your employees' voice. And lastly, one anchor would be to be helpful and create impact to your communities. So with that, I wish all of you that we will continue to move forward and take this unfortunate opportunity to learn from the situation and learn from each other. And so in the meantime, with this, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home.
Oh, Art, it sounds like you're closing off here, but we have a bit to go still.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, so that was not a closing. We still have a bit of program to go.
Yeah.
In fact, an opportunity now to ask Art some questions about the kind of go forward plans and thoughts for Synchrony. But before I do that, I just want to appreciate, I think, what you just talked about. Really, I think, is a great reflection of why Synchrony is #1 on our best workplaces list in the Philippines this year. It's really that combination of not just doing what has to be done, and not just focusing on employees, but broadening that relationship to the employees' families, to the community, And so I appreciate those examples. And when we think about, a great workplace, if it's just for the employee, it covers a part. But as you start to broaden it out and think about children, think about, the work from home challenges and things like that. I think that you all have really looked at that holistic need as well. So I appreciate the number of important efforts to ensure customer service, business productivity, compliance, as well as employee health and wellness and community. So let me ask you a couple of questions and follow up. And I encourage the folks who are online to note your own questions as we move to that. But first, so as you think about and Synchrony leadership, think about the needs of employees in the months ahead. In the months ahead, are all employees expected to return to work, Art? And if not, how are you deciding who will return and who not?
Yeah, so when we decide to come back to work, which is going to be probably long after January of 2021, considering the regulations that have been implemented by our country, we will, and looking at the schema of our workplace plan, floor plan, I think we will be asking our employees if they can stay at home, 50% of them, and our offices can accommodate 50% of our employees who would volunteer and are confident that they are safe going to the office.
And how will you decide, or what determines those employees that will be able to come to the office and those who will stay home? Is that a voluntary thing, or is it?
Yeah, definitely it will start with those who would volunteer, and they are near the office. They do not have to commute too much, and they are not living with somebody who is more than 60 years old or who are compromised with their health. And I think those people would probably volunteer to go to the office. We've been talking to our employees, and a lot of us are telling us that, hey, Art, thank you for this arrangement. My office is now a few steps away. Compared that to before, we have to travel for an hour and a half or two to get to the office, and that's early in the morning, late in the night. And this arrangement is working well for us. But we also hear our employees telling us that, Art, I miss the office, I miss the interaction, I miss being there, I miss seeing our colleagues, I miss you leaders, talking to us, being in person. So it's a mix, but we will of course definitely consider those volunteers when the time comes, when the office is going to be open. And of course, safety is really a big thing for us, Tyler. We are in fact working with a third party to purchase what we call technology in monitoring our employees who are getting to the office. So we're going to buy an app that has to be downloaded by our employees in their cell phone, and before the beginning of the day their status would be yellow, and then they have to do some surveys, personal surveys on a daily basis. They're asked about their temperature, have they been in contact with somebody who is health compromised, etc. and all. And their answer to that question will either put them into green, you can enter the office, or you're red, you should be safe and stay in your houses. And we're also buying an app for contact tracing. So in that case, that employee that goes inside our building, if in any case, we don't want it to happen, somebody is confirmed or has or suspected to have coronavirus, by that app, we will be able to trace the employees that employee was in contact with in the past few hours or days.
Right. Art, I'm going to jump ahead on a question here. We got one from one of our the folks on the webinar, and this is from someone at S&P Global, who says, you mentioned earlier that managers are heavily relied on to continue the connection with employees. And as folks are new to the pandemic and experiencing it for the first time, how did you make sure your managers are equipped in knowing how to handle such an unprecedented situation? And so for managers, how are they equipped? And also for senior leaders, how do they ensure that there was no disruption in communication, given that, that folks are working remotely?
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful question. Yeah, indeed, it was a struggle for us, getting into this. We are all thrown into something that is unknown to us. We haven't planned for this. But I guess the general principles are there about employee engagement and being able to connect with your employees. And so in the company, we have run this Frontline Leaders Managers series, and it has been running since April of this year, and it's still continuing and it is evolving. And every week there is a learning opportunity that is being given to our frontline managers so that they can be effective in their virtual connection with their employees. Uh, and so we talk about being able to engage them, giving time to their employees. Our managers are telling us that, hey, Art, we never realized this is going to be too taxing for us. And you know why? Because we are in the office setting, managers are there and with their team, and they can tap the shoulders of their employees. They can answer this question very quickly and move to another question. But now we're using chats. And so the first question from an employee, while it is being answered by the manager, there are several questions that would fall in. And so the next question might have been, covered by the succeeding questions from the other employees. And so it requires a lot of creativity. It requires a lot of diligence coming from our managers. But, I'm just so proud of them. I love our managers, they just care for their employees. And I've been telling them that, I knew deeply that they're working for more than the 9-hour shift that they have, because they still answer their employees' chats. And I've been telling them that, hey guys, you have to disconnect. You have to give time for yourselves. I know that you are our heroes and you have been giving a lot to our employees, but never fail to take care of yourself and disconnect from work, because that is just there. They will just ping you in. You are again going to answer.
Wonderful. All right, I'm gonna hold off on some of my interview questions because we've got a few coming in on the chat, so one from someone who would like to hear your thoughts about the Senate bill proposal making the work from home arrangement mandatory, and do you see kind of any impact on your current policies or challenges in case it pushes through?
Yeah, I am not an expert on our laws. But yeah, I've been reading the news, and our company likewise is attuned with the pronouncement, with the plans of the government and all. And the number one thing in our mind is that our government officials are laying out all of these guidelines and advisories with one thing in mind. It's because they want to take care of their constituents. And along that line, Synchrony and our leaders in the Philippines, Edwin, Attorney Beng, and Miss Wawi and Jovi, and all of our other leaders, we are always very thoughtful about our employees. And, work at home for us, that is unprecedented that, all of our close to 3,000 employees are right now working at home. And we would like to do that because deep in our hearts, that's the right thing to do. We are not only thinking about, I tell you, not only about our employees, but we think about, if we ask our employees to go to work and they commute, or even if we provide them with transportation, when they go back to their residences, they have children to return to. And if they are exposed to risks, we are likewise exposing the families of our employees. And so that's why we are very careful about that. And definitely Synchrony is a very compliant and adherent business when it comes to the guidelines of the government.
Great.
Thank you for that
Thank you.
question.
We have another question, and I know, you know, as an HR person, you're probably involved in more technical elements of the work and connections than you may have been in the past. But question from someone at DHL Express asking, what are the apps you're considering for health monitoring and contact tracing? To the degree it's not proprietary.
Can you?
Yeah, the apps that you're considering for health monitoring and contact tracing. Is that something
Yes.
you can?
That would be available globally, and I know that DHL is a global company, so this is something that we are partnering with MedCore, and I hope that the sourcing engagement we're doing with them is going to push through, and they will allow licenses in our Asian regions because we also have sites in Hyderabad, and yeah, so you need to look for the MedCore program, and they are working with their third party to provide these apps, and that would be helpful.
Wonderful. So no commission there, Art. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
So another person asked the considerations that you had in as you thought about work from home, and since you're in the financial services industry, concerns about fraud, data privacy, information security.
Yeah. So I tell you, that's one big thing. If you ask us this question a year ago, no, it will not happen, and definitely not in the Philippines. But in all of this, when we decided long before in April that we are going to work at home, we did not, we did not hesitate anymore. We forgo all of the meetings, all the control sessions, all of the risk assessments, and all of the information security threats that are there, in a way, because we are pressed for time, and versus our controls and our security measures, compare that to the threat to the lives and safety of our employees. I think we have taken that bold decision to ensure first that the safety of our employees are taken care of. But mind you, of course, all of the protocols, all of the innovation, all of the security features that are supposed to be placed in our work at home setup are being built, are there. So right now, our employees are using their personal computers, but eventually we will go to a gold standard, and we will be issuing our employees with the standard wherein they will be issued a laptop with a camera and with an ability to be able to screen capture and screen grab what is being shown in their computers. And at the same time, we have 100% recordings of all the calls that we have. So that gives us confidence that our employees will adhere to the duty and responsibility to take care of their customers and protect their customers. So that's what I can share.
Yeah, so it sounds like a challenging balance, especially early on, as you've got a couple things that you're considering around employee safety as well as information safety. So appreciate that. Couple more questions, and then we're going to take the last couple minutes for a quick close. I have a question from someone about mental health and whether you've provided any kind of mental health programs or services that you can share.
Yeah, you know what? I have this wonderful benefits leader. Her name is I have Vin Lipardo, and she built a great team. And over the last month, she organized something that I never thought would happen. She organized a week-long benefits festival we are Filipinos, and May, June is our fiesta time. So she called it Benefits Festival, and she ran a week-long engagement with our employees because she felt that in the office, our employees just can go to the office and seek help. But in this virtual situation, it's very difficult to reach out to our employees. And so she organized um, this benefits festival, and she ran a week-long activities where we invited government agencies like SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig, explaining to our employees how they can avail of their benefits even if we are in this lockdown. We also worked with doctors and experts in this field, and we run Ask the Medical Experts sessions for our employees. And it was wonderful because it gave confidence to our employees. All of these myths that they're hearing about the effects of the virus, that those things were addressed by these Ask Us medical experts. And then we also run a lot of mental health programs. So we work with a very well-known psychologist and some authorities in this specialization, and they gave us a lot of mental wellness sessions for our employees. And you know what? There are the two words that I can share to describe those mental health sessions. These were enlightening, and the other one is these were calming.
Wonderful. And next question. So Synchrony has some very compassionate policies for employees amidst the crisis. And was the financial impact of the initiatives on the company's operations considered? Or were those impacts kind of on the backseat given the focus on employees' welfare by Synchrony?
Yeah, of course. Definitely, we will function within the limits of our capabilities. And so on the financial side, that is well taken care of. We are so lucky that we are placed in a very good financial standing and that we have this capacity to make arrangements for work to still happen while employees are at home, to provide extra for employees for assistance during this corona situation. But I tell you, we have very strong finance team, and in our financial reports, I tell you, we are in a very good standing, and Synchrony is very stable to be able to accommodate all of this.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. I'm going to jump us through my interview questions. Maybe one last one that I have for you, Art, and that is based on your experience, what advice might you have for organization leaders who have joined us today as they look forward? So as you think about through your HR lens, through your leadership lens, any kind of last comments or thoughts?
Thank you for that question. I'll be glad to share these two things to our leaders here. I think it's all about how we lift everybody up through this crisis. And I would give emphasis on lifting everybody up. We should be positive leaders, and we should keep everybody in the company focused on getting through this as strong and as tough as possible. You know what? Our people look up to us, and our positive leadership will make them believe that we will eventually succeed with the crisis that we are dealing with right now. And another thing I want to share for our leaders here is to listen to your people. Our people are the heart of our organization, and their voice matters. Employees are our business partners, and they help drive where the direction of the business is. So ensuring employees are treated with dignity and with respect, especially during this time, when they feel that they are taken care of, this will help build their loyalty and trust towards the company. And I tell you, let's just be genuine and be authentic. You know, my business leader, Mike Solin, will always tell me this. Art, our people, when we interact with them, they will forget all the words that you will say, but they will never forget how you make them feel.
Wow. Well, listen, I so appreciate what I've heard in your comments, Art, as I think about, great workplaces. There's so many things that I think you demonstrate by example, acknowledging the team, showing appreciation and credit, the concept of lifting everyone up, which I think reflects kind of that Bayanihan spirit. And then listening to the voice of, of your employees, all those things, I think comprise that, as you put it so well, that kind of envelope of trust. And trust your employees, and they'll return that in kind. And so I really appreciate that. We're at the kind of close of our session. And in closing, I'd like to thank Art for his time. And again, to congratulate Synchrony Philippines as the #1 best workplace for 2020 in the Philippines. I also want to invite any of you who have joined us today to please contact us at Great Place to Work if you're interested in learning more about our services and the work that we do. And also to let you know that we'll be holding our next webinar will be on the 29th of July. And we'll be focusing on the fundamentals of a great workplace. And again, I think that being able to kind of take some of the examples that we've heard today, think about those in the context of our framework and the model that we've developed. I think you can see how that can come to life in an organization like Synchrony. So Art, anything comments or thoughts in closing?
I'll just say, stay safe, stay home, and wash your hands.
All right. Well, Art, on behalf of Great Place to Work Philippines, salamat po at magandang hapon.
Ingat.
And thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to having you join us for our next webinar. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Eve.